Hi, welcome to the channel. So you want to know more about the classes in Blue Protocol? Do you want to figure out what class to play at launch? Or simply just see what the game has to offer you in terms of classes to understand more about its combat? Either way, you're definitely in the right place, because I, like you, was curious about a lot of things in Blue Protocol, and I went out of my way to find the answers so you don't have to. The Blade Warden, also known as the Aegis Fighter sometimes, is Blue Protocol's Holy Knight tank class, holding a sword and shield that can make them the spearhead of a lot of attacks. The Blade Warden is capable of dealing a ton of damage and taking a ton of damage. This is due to the class's shield gauge, which displays how much incoming damage the Warden can block before their shield gauge hits 0 and their shield breaks. As soon as the shield breaks, they won't be able to block for a few seconds. However, if you don't break your shield and drain your shield gauge entirely, this meter will slowly climb back up over time. Depending on how well this mechanic is used, the Blade Warden could almost be invincible. I mean, just look at this monster. This will make the class excel at crowd control and being a main tank during boss fights by absorbing a lot of unwanted damage. Now for the important part. Let's take a look at the Blade Warden skills. Our left click is a simple 4-hit chain attack, Break Slash. Our right click, however, is the class's bread and butter and what sets it apart from most of the other classes in the game, the Shield Guard counter. If the Blade Warden holds up their shield and uses a basic attack, they will use their counter skill, meaning the Blade Warden is able to interrupt enemy attacks with their counter and turn the fight around with the correct timing. Now let's take a look at the class's tactical skills. Tactical skill 1, Shield Charge. The Blade Warden will charge forward with their shield and stun enemies they hit. However, this skill can't be used if the shield gauge is broken and you don't have access to your shield. The alternative skill here is Sunrise Charge, which has the Blade Warden rush forward with their shield. This time, each enemy hit will trigger a holy explosion. This skill can be charged up too. Level 2 will add an additional attack to the combo, and at level 3 it will add a third attack to the combo while also triggering a holy debuff on enemies. Tactical skill number 2, Blowbeat. The Blade Warden slams down their sword into the ground, which deals damage to enemies within the radius. Additionally, this is also a taunt skill that can be charged. The level 2 charge will increase the skill's range and interrupt all enemy attacks in the area. The level 3 charge will pull enemies toward you. This skill perfectly demonstrates the Blade Warden's crowd control abilities. Our alternative skill here is Celestial Pillar. The Warden will summon a pillar of light on themselves that deals holy damage to enemies in the area. The skill can be charged up to level 3, but I don't know the specifics of this charge just yet, so I'm gonna leave that out of the video sadly. Tactical skill 3, Divide Slash. The Warden slashes through all the enemies in front of them. This looks really cool despite its simplicity. The alternative skill here is Crescent Light. The Blade Warden will perform a crescent shaped super slash on enemies that inflicts holy damage. This can be charged up to level 2, increasing the number of slashes to 2. Again, very simple, but very nice to look at. Now, just like the last video, tactical skill 4 is always a game changer for the class, and the Blade Warden is absolutely no exception to that rule. Fortress. This skill will cause the Blade Warden's shield gauge to replenish and also provide a defensive buff, meaning the Warden can completely drain their shield gauge to 0 and activate it again with a defense buff, making them even tankier than before. Now, our alternative skill here is Regeneration. The Warden will regenerate their HP continuously for a limited amount of time. This paired with their shield would make their overall survivability incredible and hopefully give our healers an easier time. Both of these skills are fantastic for the Blade Warden survivability and will probably be a great help for their crowd control capabilities. I see the best Blade Wardens basically being one-man armies that can group up a ton of enemies and allow their team to deal a lot of damage to them as quick as possible. But it gets better. The ultimate skill, Judgment Shield. The Blade Warden will launch a Shockwave Light attribute attack to the area in front of them, gaining a buff that will recover their shield gauge when using skills. The cooldown for this ultimate can be shortened by simply guarding against enemy attacks, so you will be rewarded for simply using your skills and being a good tank. I feel like the Blade Warden will be one of the most popular classes in Blue Protocol due to their ability to shape the battleground and take a ton of damage. The aesthetic is also very cool, as I actually enjoy the Holy Knight concept. This is definitely a class I am looking forward to trying out, but I don't see myself jumping into it right away. Somewhere down the line, I would love to see if the community are able to shape this class into an incredible DPS that focuses more on countering and dealing as much damage as possible. Why, you ask? Because that's cool. Now, wait, before you go, here's the Blade Warden stats. However, these stats are very likely to change, so again, take them with a grain of salt as the game is still pretty much in development right now. Now, if you guys want to know more about the Twin Striker, I have a similar video on that right now, playing in the top right, but I will make an updated version of that video in the future as there was some oopsies in there. In a game with constant development, for now a lot of the information is actually temporary, but will definitely give you an insight onto how these classes work. If you feel like I gave you something or some kind of information that you haven't gotten before, consider subscribing as I will be doing a lot more of these videos. And guys, remember to get at least 8 hours sleep, as I definitely did not. See ya!